Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition, where we are going to go back to Haven. Haven. I expected there to be more on our lay, like in the town, whatever town we were in. My dearest and best father and lord, crazy. I downloaded a while back. This is how far ahead I'm playing, and I just uploaded the video where I was like, quick, there's 1 day left to download the free version, like the free 10 songs from the Bard Taverns and the sheet music, and I downloaded them yesterday, and I've been listening to them. They're not great. I mean, I can't put them on anything but my computer, but they sound fine, and I'll be buying the music when it comes out because it's amazing, and I think it's really great of BioWare to even, like, especially the sheet music, like, that's awesome. Like, that's really cool of them. Like, because, like, now I want to get a guitar and, like, you know, start learning how to play.
Do you need something?
Tell me about it,
I have some more questions. Why am I not surprised? Tell me about your brother. I would prefer not to speak of Anthony. Another time, perhaps.
Okay.
I'll let you get back to work.
I'm just not sure if I should keep asking her or what. Oh, look. Oh, hey, both of you are over here. Hey.
What can I do for you?
Can we talk about Iron Bull while he's right here? Okay, I actually looked it up. Well, it was one of the things, like, that I happened to see, but I double-checked and, like, triple-checked. Apparently, the voice actor for Krem is the female Commander Shepard. And the voice actor for Iron Bull is the guy who voice acted James Vega. Because somebody wrote in a comment somewhere that now Commander Shepard is taking orders from James Vega. And I was like, and I listened, like, the little clip I was watching, I, like, didn't even listen to it again. I just, like, sat there and I, like, listened to it in my head. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I think, like, I don't know, like, it's hard to kind of tell, but, like, if this is actually the female Commander Shepard, she does a really good job doing a male voice. How can we use you? Okay, let's talk about Iron Bull.
I'd like to know more about the Iron Bull.
The chief. First time I met him, he saved my life. I never thought I'd work for a Qunari, but he grows on you. He's not like any commander I've ever worked for. That's for damn sure.
What kind of commander is he?
How's Iron Bull as a commander?
If you know what you're doing and hold up your end, he's easy. He doesn't accept any less. He keeps us alive, he leads from the front, and if you've an idea that'll win the fight, he listens.
Huh.
I've seen bands whose captains had to prove they were swinging the biggest sword. Bull isn't like that. The charges might give him more lip than you'd expect, but every one of us would lay down our lives for the big ass.
Aww. How did you end up with him?
How did a Tevinter soldier wind up in a Qunari spy's mercenary company?
I wasn't a soldier at the time. I was in some trouble, trying to flee Tevinter.
Trouble.
A tribune and his men caught me in a border town tavern. They meant to make an example of me.
Yikes.
Bull killed them. Gave up his eye doing it.
No way.
Patched me up and asked if I was looking for work. I've been putting up with his jokes ever since.
Yeah. Give it.
That's how he lost the eye?
Yes. The guards had me on the tavern floor when Bull came inside and yelled for them to stop. One of them saw trouble coming and figured he'd finish me off. The guard had a flail. Bull put himself between me and the blow.
No way.
Gaunt idiot. Didn't even know me.
Wow. That would inspire loyalty.
Is it strange to work for a Qunari?
He hasn't tried to convert us to the Qun, if that's what you're asking.
Qun! Okay.
Bull's charges don't care who you light a candle for, so long as your shield stays up. If he hadn't told me he was Ben Hasroth, I'd have thought he'd left that life behind.
I didn't expect he'd tell you all that he was a spy.
Not the whole band, but those who've been around long enough to trust. He figures most of us would find out sooner or later, and it should come from him. Eyes to eye, he says. It's never messed up a job. He just writes letters back home. Lots of the boys write letters back home.
I see.
We'll talk later.
Do you have any more? Hey, come here. No? Is that it? Aw. Cute. Eh. Okay, Bull, let's talk.
They've got good form. Cullen's putting his Templar training to good use.
How did you know?
Did Cullen tell you he was a Templar?
So he kind of
He's not
carries
wearing
himself
the
like
armor.
one.
He didn't have to. Might not be a Templar shield, but it's a Templar holding it.
Oh.
He angles the shield just a bit down. Helps direct fire or acid away, so it doesn't spray right into your face. Qunari learned the same thing when we trained to fight Tevinter mages.
Oh.
Your Templar's doing good work.
Doing good work. You could always help. That might be kind of weird, but it'd be funny.
You sound like you want to head down there and give the troops some pointers.
Nah.
Nah.
I'm no good at command unless I know who my guys are sleeping with and what they like to do.
What? That
The
much?
Inquisition's already too large for that. The charges are big enough for me. Biggest problem for the Inquisition right now isn't on the front line. It's at the top.
What?
You've got no leader,
What?
no Inquisitor.
Aren't I the Inquisitor? Well, Cassandra. I kind of consider Cassandra the leader, to be honest.
Cassandra's been the driving force of this Inquisition.
Oh, he
She's
approves.
the leader in all but name.
Cassandra's a seeker. From what I gather, that's a bit like a Ben Hasra. She's a good hunter and a great fighter, but she doesn't see the big picture. Too busy searching for answers.
Ah,
My people don't pick leaders from the strongest, or the smartest, or even the most talented. We pick the ones willing to make the hard decisions, and live with the consequences.
how do you determine that?
Who knows? Maybe you sealed the breach. The Chantry gets off its ass and all those soldiers go home and get fat.
You think?
It could happen. It won't, but it could.
What do you mean?
What can I do for you?
Tell me about the Qunari.
I'd like to know more about the Qunari.
You writing a book?
Flirty, no. Well, they sound interesting.
What I've heard about them sounds fascinating.
What you've heard was mostly horse shit. All right.
I'm sure.
What do you want to know?
Hee. Oh, wow. How do the day-to-day life?
How is everyday life different for Qunari?
I don't know anything about them.
Depends on your job, I guess. Some are just about the same. A baker in Val Royeaux gets up, gets dressed, and starts work. A baker in Parvolan does the same thing. They don't care about the Empire or the Qun. Mostly they worry about breaking eggs and hope the dough rises right.
What does that mean?
It can't be exactly the same. The Qunari have no personal freedoms.
How many personal freedoms do you figure that baker in Val Royeaux has? Life isn't about freedom. The baker in Parvolan wonders if she'll be given enough eggs to do her work. Will they come on time? Will the kitchen workers get her bread while it's fresh, or will they come late and blame her 'cause it's stale? Same crap in Val Royeaux. People are just people.
How do the Qunari rule themselves?
It's pretty simple. We've got the matriarchy, the priesthood,
Matriarchy?
and the military. The priesthood figures out how Qunari should live in theory. The matriarchy makes it work in practice. And the military keeps the Qunari safe from outside threats.
Does it actually work like that? Is there much infighting?
Not like you're thinking of. People disagree, yeah, but the priests are there to solve disagreements. Here in Olay, politicking comes from people putting their own gain ahead of the gains of society.
It's not like that for
If you
you?
do that among the Qunari, the Ben Hasrath set you straight. Or kill you.
Oh, wow.
What's it like growing up under the Qun?
The Tamasrans raise us in these units of kids all our own age.
That's what
They're
he
like
meant.
teachers or chantry sisters. They also help figure out what jobs we should do.
What?
They had me pegged for military work early on. When they learned I could hit stuff and lie, they started training me for the Ben Hasra.
No families?
You never knew your parents.
No, I know for you folks, that's a big deal. The Tamasrans were like our parents, though. Taught us to read, helped us go to sleep, all the parent stuff. I remember the one who helped me build things with blocks. She laughed when I knocked everything down.
Oh, okay, so they're happy then. Strange. It's like the Spartans. Sort of.
I've heard there's no marriage among the Qunari.
Yeah, that's true. Qunari love our friends like anyone does, but we don't have sex with them.
What?
Qunari don't have sex.
Oh, we definitely have sex. They're Tamasrans who pop your cork whenever you
What?
want.
What? What's a Tamasran?
Seriously?
Yes. It's not a big deal like it is here. It's like, I don't know, going to see a healer. Sometimes it's this long, involved thing. It takes all day, leaves you walking funny. Other times you're in and out in 5 minutes. Thank you. See you next week.
Sounds great. That's bizarre.
Something because I understand how different how Qunari and then I turn to you.
Yep. Still, it's more fun here. Fewer rituals, more making it up as you go along. Plus, you folk have redheads.
What?
Redheads.
Oh my gosh, what does that mean? If I was a redhead, would I be in trouble?
Do you ever think about what would happen if the Qunari conquered Orlais or Ferelden?
Some folks, like Cassandra or Cullen, would do fine if they didn't die fighting. Those two love rules. But the mages... Can you imagine Solus trying his fade dreaming under the Qun? Or Vivian doing her political bullshit? Both Sarah and Varric would mouth off until they ended up re-educated. Drugged until their minds broke.
What?
So, to answer your question, no. I don't think about it much at all.
I need to learn more about the
The word
Qunari.
Qunari. Is that the race or the religion?
Both. Kind of. The humans and elves who follow the Qun are the Vidathari.
Oh.
The Qunari who break away from the Qun are Talvasha, deserters.
What about Qunari who existed before the Qun?
The people we came from. They're called the Kossith, but we don't use that word for the race. We came south to Thedas because the Kossith were... I don't know.
Huh.
We had to leave. The stories aren't clear. But I don't expect they look much like us. Whatever they are.
See you later, Bull.
See ya. How's it going?
Back. Hang on.
See you later, Bull.
See ya.
She uses his name. I'm not okay with that. We don't like that. Codex. Characters. Where is Bull? This report has been defaced numerous times in a different hand. This is Sarah. It falls on to me to comment on this Red Jenny, for as a creature of the court, I must have seen the effect of her actions. On Sarah, Red Jenny, and Valiciana, Lady Bart's fond knuckle fronts. Oh my gosh. Does that make them effective or ineffective? What I know is that she has vexed city's guardsmen across Thedas and always escaped. Assessing all available records, it seems clear of the name, often at the same time. The limitations of communication are such that this is impossible to verify at the moment. A crude drawing of a guard with her breeches at her ankles. The severity of the attributed actions vary wildly, from petty to outright vicious. While official reports label these actions unfair, I have knowledge of many named as victims, and several are a suspect character. Sarah would call them something altogether untoward. Yes, mum, shites, the lot of them. There are tales of Red Jenny targeting criminals, slavers, and even assassins' guilds. The benefit of having a local is that they are invested in regional concerns, although this obviously varies. I can discern no protocol. Don't need a title to be awful and deserve it. So who is our Red Jenny? She has been amusing herself in Val Royeaux for some time, although it is clear from her accent that she is deeply Ferelden. She met with outright laughter my inquiry as to whether she had any special elven concerns that I could address. I have conferred with Leliana about the danger of this group, and our estimation is that this incarnation of Red Jenny is, at least, a good distraction. Aw, the scary one cares. Addendum. Denerim. Sarah's claim to have lived in Denerim cannot be verified, but seems likely that the alienage there was neither stable nor secure. Many residents of the city fled the region following the Blight. Given her nature, Val Royeaux would have seen rife with targets. Denerim has more than its share of suspect nobility, but most were rallied against a common enemy thanks to the efforts of the hero Ferelden, forced to more like shites and double shites. Who is that? Oh, Lord, for months we were also certain Lord Seeker Lambert's death was an assassination carried out by mages. He had, after all... Okay. Okay, so this is Lucius talking, as opposed to Lambert, who was the predecessor. He had, after all, declared the Navarran Accord null and void, hurtling us headlong into a war against the rebels. Why else would he be killed except as an act of retribution? The entire Templar order was fired up, ready to take up the fight against the mages, something we were sure would be over in a matter of weeks. Thus, the election of Lucius Cornan to the role made me despair. According to the few seekers of truth with whom I spoke, he was a moderate. He agreed to the Divine's conclave, and every Templar I knew felt certain he would compromise to see the war end, but lately the man seems different. Does he not? I never met him before he assumed command, but even in this short time his opinions on the war have turned. He did not go to the conclave he personally supported. In fact, he seems to regret supporting it at all. He talks of the Templars establishing themselves with power in their own right, and our fellows are all too eager to listen. I don't know from where this change of heart came, but I begin to wonder if Lambert's death wasn't as simple a matter as we assumed. Something is amiss within our order, and all I know is that it's beyond me to discover what. From a letter written by an unknown Templar found in a burned-out fort. Okay. Iron Bull. My dear friend, I completely understand the difficulty you face. To have such a well-equipped bandits attack your family's caravans so regularly, and with such exquisite knowledge of your shipping schedules, is indeed highly unfortunate. There is no shame at all in finding your household guards wanting in such trying circumstances. To answer your question, when faced with my own troubles last year, I employed the Bull's chargers. Their leader, the Iron Bull, is a Qunari, a great horned giant of a man. He looks like a savage, but spoke like a gentleman. That's the thing. He speaks like a gentleman. He seems unstoppable in combat, but is far more clever than a simple swordsman. His mercenaries were costly, but they were both strong enough to protect my family's caravans, and clever enough to discover how the bandits came into such luck in their attacks upon my family. The bandits have since been no trouble at all since, and a baron of our mutual acquaintance effusively assured me that he would be greatly surprised if they ever again caused us difficulty. If you wish to employ the Iron Bull, I can provide you with his contact information, as well as a list of the liquors he enjoys more particularly. Will your husband also be present in these negotiations, or will you be making the acquaintance of the Iron Bull in a more intimate setting? If so, we shall have to talk the next time our men go hunting. Yours in friendship be a letter lifted from a hidden drawer in a nobleman's vanity and copied carefully before being returned. Alrighty then, so payment comes in various forms. Magic is dangerous, it's just fire is dangerous. Anyone who forgets this truth gets burned. An assiduous and talented scholar, Vivian rose rapidly through the ranks of Montesimad's circle. When made a full-fledged enchanter, she elected to join no fraternity, a decision that shocked colleagues, but may have been a calculated maneuver. When she successfully applied to be appointed enchanter of the Imperial Court, nearly every fraternity clamored for her favor in hopes of having a representative at the Empress's ear. She was voted first enchanter of Montesimard at an age young enough to cause scandal. The circle widely regards her as the most shrewd and disciplined mage in Orlais. I wonder how I should take her and Solus out sometime and see what they have to say. Grand Enchanter Fiona. Oh, this was the one. Okay. Yeah, she's the maid in charge of the mages. Grand Enchanter Fiona is considered an anomaly among mages. She is, for instance, the only member of the Circle of Magi ever to leave due to recruitment by the Grey Wardens and then return? Seriously? The circumstances of that return are largely unknown, but the notoriety she gained within the circle allowed her to rise rapidly in the ranks. She became first enchanter of the Montesimar Tower, and then elected Grand Enchanter at the College of Cumberland. The latter was based on her advocacy for greater mage freedom, a view she claimed her time with the Warden supported. Urging for a vote on the matter led to the College of Enchanters' dissolution in 940 Dragon, and then when a vote was attempted secretly to Lord Seeker Lambert of the Seekers of Truth, arresting Fiona and her fellow enchanters. Following their flight to the ruin of Andoral's Reach, the escaped mages held and passed a final vote on the Circle of Magi's independence. This began the Mage Rebellion. While Fiona no longer holds the official position of Grand Enchanter, most mages still consider her an integral part of the rebellion's leadership. So all the people who wanted freedom ran away, and then they voted. Like, it's like that seems like a very narrow voting spectrum, you know. It's like obviously they all wanted some sort of new new freedoms. At this point, I'm more inclined to favor the mages. I feel like something's going on with the Templars. And I'd like to find a path of neutrality, but I almost always do that. But everybody, like, there's a couple, like Cullen and Cassandra, who are like, hey, something is going wrong. Like, with the Templars. Like, things aren't the same unless that guy who pretended to be a moderate is actually crazy and got the old one killed. That's something different, but Chant for the Departed, we read that. Fifth Blight, Andraste, Bride of the Maker. Once a tiny fishing village on the waking sea that was set upon by Tevinter Imperium, which enslaved the villagers to be sold in the markets of Minrathus, leaving behind only the old and infirm. One of the captives was the child Andraste. She was raised in slavery in a foreign land. She escaped and made the long and treacherous journey back to her homeland alone. She rose from nothing to be the wife of an Alamari warlord. Each day she sang to the gods, asking them to help her people who remained slaves in Tevinter. The false gods of the mountains and the winds did not answer her, but the true God did. The Maker spoke. He showed her all the works of his hands, the Fade, the world, and all the creatures therein. He showed her how men had forgotten him, lavishing devotion upon mute idols and demons, and now he had left them to their fate. But her voice had reached him and so captivated him that he offered her a place at his side, that she might rule all of creation. Oh, so he's not above sensual pleasure then? But Andraste would not forsake her people. She begged the Maker to return to save his children from the cruelty of the Imperium. Reluctantly, the Maker agreed to give man another chance. Andraste went back to her husband, Maferath, and told him all that the Maker had revealed to her. Together they rallied the Alamari and marched forth against the mage lords of the Imperium, and the Maker was with them. The Maker's sword was creation itself, fire and flood, famine and earthquake. Everywhere they went, Andraste sang to the people of the Maker, and they heard her. The ranks of Andraste's followers grew until they were a vast tide washing over the Imperium. And when Maferath saw that the people loved Andraste, not him, a worm grew within his heart, gnawing upon it. At last, when the armies of Andraste and Maferath stood before the very gates of Mithras, the armies, okay, they did, but Andraste was not with them, for Maferath had schemed in secret to hand Andraste over to the Tevinter. For this, the Archon would give Maferath all the lands to the south of the Waking Sea. And so, before all the armies of the Alamari and of Tevinter, Andraste was tied to a stake and burned while her earthly husband turned his armies aside and did nothing, for his heart had been devoured. But as he watched the pyre, the Archon softened. He took pity on Andraste and drew his sword and granted her the mercy of a quick death. The Maker wept for his beloved, cursed Maferath, and cursed mankind for their betrayal, and turned once again from creation, taking only Andraste with him. And Our Lady sits still at his side, where she still urges him to take pity on his children. Really? Wow. Drew his sword and he killed her? Why didn't the armies of Andraste go, hey, like, how, like, I mean, I understand the chain of command is a big deal and, like, it's hard to betray that, but still, oh, man. Refusing their cosmetics, power of any kind, due to being dirty. Dude, I totally know what you mean. Powerful and connected nobles who had served in the cabinet as far as time, turned away from his younger brother, ran off his sister. Children were banned from the palace, even the children of servants, with the exceptions of his nephew and nieces, who were tolerated only on the condition that they remain out of the Emperor's sight. Regarding suggesting that Florian's youngest cousin married lovers, the truth is uncertain, certainly unexistent. It was no doubt kept private due to Florian's aversion to public life, not from any fear of rumors. Such rumors, after all, were likely spread to the Emperor's refusal to surrender the child, and thus secure his line. Many believe this failing would eventually lead to civil war. The only real evidence of relationship with the two had prior to Megan's appointment or exile. He saw it to the throne of Ferelden. Megan said how Florian, my darling, and neither man chose to explain the argument later. So war was going to only daughter after a vicious struggle that threatened to consume the empire. Oh, that's odd. Interesting. Is he still the one in charge? I think. Yeah, we read that one when we got it. There are those who believe. Man, this is a lot of reading. The tale of the story largely spread by crows themselves is no more credible than the promises of Mark Stahlhuxer. Oh, okay, that's what the queen. Okay, right. She like sold off her children. Conclave, First Inquisition, Maker. Seems like a very not nice god. Long ago. Oh no, we read that. Yeah. The Ashkari guy. Wrath of Heaven. Okay, I'm going to call this episode here. I've been trying to find out more about the Qunari because I feel like that should be in here somewhere. So I'm going to look for that next. But we got distracted by the new cards from people. So this one and next one are probably going to be a lot of reading. So thank you guys for joining me. I will see you in the next one.